Hey everyone, welcome to my user review of the BMW M4 2015 edition. This is actually the third video in this series. This is the video I think everyone's been looking forward to. The first two videos, the first video was me picking up the car from the dealership. The second video, which I'll link below, was me going over some of the details of the car. But now I've had the car for 6 weeks and I've done what, 2,500 miles in it. I'm starting to get a real feel for the car and what I like and don't like about the car, and so I wanted to share that with you. And in this video I'm going to cover what's it like to drive, or, you know, what are the best bits about the car that I like, how fast does it go, how does it sound. You know, everybody's a little nervous about the sound of these new M cars, so I wanted to address my feelings on that. How does it compare to my previous E90 or E92 model M3 that I had for 5 years and loved? How does it compare to my 991 edition 911 that I recently got rid of? So I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll talk about issues that I've had with the car so far. Nothing major, just a couple of little things. And list of a wish list, some of the things I'd like to see them change. And finally, if I ordered again, what would I change, if anything? And then I'll round it up with a couple of user questions. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So starting with, you know, what's it like to drive? And I love driving the car. You know, it really has grown on me very quickly. When I first picked this car up from the dealership, I was a little bit taken aback by how much bigger and heavier it was compared to my 911, but it's quickly grown on me, and it's definitely a light. I can feel that it's a little lighter than my previous M3, and it's a very solid, lovely car to drive. I'll talk a little bit more about the comparison with the 911 later in the video, but for now, you know, I love this car for what it is. You know, this is a car that is the best of all worlds in a lot of ways, and what I mean by that is, you know, it's an enormously fast car, yet it's still a very practical car, and it's small enough to be a pretty good sports car as well. And I love that about it. You know, it's such a comfortable car to drive around. You know, I did a long trip a weekend ago, you know, a few hours drive, and it was such a fantastic car to drive for a few hours, whereas you know, my 911, yeah, I get a bit jaded after a few hours. And if you want to be a bit of a hooligan, this car is a fantastic car to have. It's got so much torque and so much power. You know, it's so easy to get the rear end out, do crazy things in. It is such a fun car to have as a sports car. You know, I think that is one of the biggest improvements in this car over the previous generation, is how much more power it's got, or how much more torque it's got. And I love that torque. You know, I love the feeling of being pressed back in my seat. I love the ability, even at high speed, to put my foot down and the car really take off. So yeah, you know, it's still light enough to be pretty zippy. You know, it's an incredibly practical, lovely car, yet it's still small enough. It's not a tank. It's not, you know, it's not like the bigger cars where, you know, while they're still powerful, you can't really throw them around. You can still throw this around quite well. It's really a fun car to drive. And inside, you know, I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos. The leather in these M series BMWs is so nice. It's such a huge step up from the leather in the standard BMWs. It's such a lovely smooth leather. I think it's even better than the leather in the Porsche. And the other thing I like about this is the new technology in these cars. They come packed with so many neat toys. The ones that I can think of that now that I've got in this car, I don't want to be without in future cars, is the heads-up display. I'm loving having a heads-up display. It really is a lot of fun, and it's really useful. I've gotten completely used to having the information I need, whether it's navigational, radio, or the speed or whatever, right there on the road in front of me. And now when I drive other cars, I'm where's the heads-up display gone? So yeah, I'm really loving having the car. It is a great car to commute to work with. It's a great car to drive in a irresponsible manner, and it's an easy enough car that, you know, my girlfriend can drive it, or anyone. I'm happy to let any of my friends drive it because it's such an easy car to drive. I know that they're not going to have any trouble with it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the M4 so far. A fantastic car. So next up, how fast does it go? Well, lucky enough, I managed to get myself onto a 1.5 mile airfield recently and answer that very question. Okay, so don't ask me how, but we've managed to find ourselves on a disused runway, so we're going to do a little bit of a speed run in the car here. We're doing a running start around the taxiway here. We're going to straighten her up and floor it. Here we go. So in the end, I did a few runs up and down that airfield, and the highest speed I ended up getting was a little over 180 miles an hour displayed. You know, there's always a level of error within the speedometer, and so I don't think it was, well, what I did is I went back and looked at my GPS, which is giving me an accurate speed reading, and it said the fastest speed that I did that day was 174 miles an hour. So I guess that would have been at the time that the speedo was saying about 182, so that seems about right, about 8 miles an hour difference. And I think if I'd had a little bit more runway, that was a 1.5 mile runway, I've had a little bit longer, because the car was still going at that point. It was still increasing speed. I just had to slow down before the end of the runway. I think it would have got to 190 no problem. We're still accelerating at a fairly decent rate. So I don't know. I was a little shocked because I assumed that the speed limiter would kick in at about 160 miles an hour, but it just was never there. Maybe the US cars just don't have the speed limiter, or maybe the speed limiter is way up there. Whatever the case, I never found it. And I was getting a displayed rate of, you know, over 180 miles an hour out of it. So yeah, fast car. It's a very fast car. So how does it sound? And this has been probably the most controversial thing about this latest F series M4 M3 model range. You know, there's a lot of videos out there that show these cars making a terrible sound, you know, like almost like a two-stroke engine sound. And so I was nervous when I ordered the car that I would be getting a car that sounded awful as well, particularly when the previous, you know, E90 series M3 sounded so great with their V8s. But with that said, I love the sound the car makes. I really don't understand why people don't like the sound. It is completely different, obviously, than the sound that the V8 made. The V8, you know, revved out to over 8,000 revs, and it was a screaming V8. It made a great sound. But this makes its own great sound. You know, this is a lower throbbing sound, and not only is it a completely different sound, but, you know, everybody's worried about the fact that they are pumping a small amount of the sound into the cabin as well. Now, what I believe, and I could be wrong about this, is that they're not synthesizing any sounds. They're just taking the sound that they hear in the engine bay and passing it through to the cabin. That's what people were telling me on the forums. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Whatever the case, I was interested in turning off the synthesizer to see what the difference would be. And I'd read that you could pull a fuse to get the synthesizer turned off, but as it turns out, you have to pull the fuse on the whole audio system in order to do that. And I don't want to be messing with that. I don't, you know, the car is brand new. I don't want to be causing any trouble. You know, the luck I've had with cars in the past, you know, I don't want them saying, why were you pulling the fuse on things, Nick? Of course it's going to break down if anything goes wrong, so I don't want to be touching that. From my point of view, I've been really enjoying the sound, both inside and out. Whenever I record the sound on the outside, to me it sounds awesome. When I hear the car driving by with other people driving it, it sounds awesome. And on the inside, I love the sound as well. You know, it is a completely different sound, as I said, the previous car, but that's fine. It's got its own great sound. It's got a deeper, you know, do sound, which I just love. So yeah, I've got no problem with the sound the car makes, and I really don't understand why everyone else has a problem. I may consider getting another exhaust at a later date, so it's even louder, but for now, I'm really happy with the sound the car makes. So how does it compare to my previous M3, which was an E92 model? And I had that, as I said before, for 5 years, so obviously I love that car. And that car was truly a great car, and hence why I kept it for so long, because I couldn't really find anything else that I liked more and wanted to buy more until the 911 came along. The only two things that I felt that could be improved on that M3 were the technology had fallen behind. Even when it was new, the technology wasn't up with the Audis and the Mercedes at the time. So that it just didn't have the toys that the other cars had. It was good, but it could have been better. And the other thing was that while the engine was fantastic, powerful, high horsepower engine that just revved out and was a lot of fun to drive, it could have done with a little more torque. Once again, its competitors had more torque, and while it was just as fast as its competitors, often faster, you never really felt the power. And both of those things are addressed in this new series, in that, you know, the new turbo engine has so much more torque. You're always pressed into the back of your seat, and has so many more toys. You know, I've only had the car 6 weeks, and I still haven't got through figuring out all of the toys that this car has. But yeah, they've definitely addressed both of those, you know, shortcomings in the previous car. So I've been thinking about it, and I can't think of one single thing that I miss about the old M3 that hasn't been improved on in this new M4. I'm sure other people, you know, might prefer the sound or something about the old M3, but for my money, the new models are improved in every single way. It is a fantastic car. Tui, stop snoring. So yeah, it's yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's a big upgrade from the previous model. So what about, how does it compare to my 991 911? Well, that's a much more tricky question, because I like both these cars for completely different reasons. You know, the 911 is much more a pure sports car in my mind, and when I say that, I mean it's a smaller, lighter, more nimble car, and it gives you a lot more feedback. That is, you feel a lot more feedback in the pedals, in the steering, and the sounds coming from the car. You're more in tune with the car with the 911. But on the flip side, you know, the 911 was never a comfortable car to drive long distance. You know, if I was going more than an hour, I'd tend to take a different car, because it is quite a noisy car and it's not the most comfortable car in the world. So, you know, while it is really a fantastic car to drive in a sporty manner or fast, you know, for long distance trips, not so much. And that's where the new M4 really beats my 911, in that, you know, I can take this on a longer drive and love every minute of it. You know, it's a much quieter, much more comfortable car. It feels a lot more powerful, and it has a whole bunch more toys. You know, many more toys in the M4 than the 911, even though I'd spec'd up the 911 almost to the maximum amount of toys. So, you know, each has their strengths and weaknesses. If you were to press me as to which one I like more, I guess I still have a preference for the 911, partially because I loved driving it so much. It was such a fantastic driver's car, and also because I love the shape of the 911. I think the new M4 is a very handsome car, and I really love the shape of it. But the 911, the 991 911, I think they've got that shape spot on, in that, you know, it's not too flashy, but still just a beautiful car to look at. So I love both the cars for different reasons. But yeah, I'll be happy to get another 911 again, and I'm very happy with my new M4. So, what issues have I had so far? Well, I know you're all thinking, oh my god, he's had issues already? Is this going to be another major drama like the 911? No, that's not the case. You know, it's still early days, but nothing major so far. Only two small issues. The first one most of you already know about, and that is when I picked up the car, the dealer had not enabled the airbag system, and so the airbag light was on. I returned the car within a day, and they kept it and they fixed all that, so that was fine. That was just a mistake by the dealer. The second issue is a really small issue, but still kind of annoying for me. What it is up here underneath the sun visor is a little vanity light, like just about every car has, and it works, but it never turns off. If you look at the other visor, you can see either when you close the visor or close the mirror, the light turns off. On the passenger side, that light never turns off, and that wouldn't be a problem apart from if I leave the car for a few days, it runs the battery flat. And so it's annoying because I can't take the car to the airport when I go away on business or anything like that, because I'm worried that the battery would be flat by the time I came back. And so I took the car in last Wednesday to have this problem fixed. And of course, the dealer looked at it, they had the car for a few hours, they gave it back to me and said to me, yes, oh, we can confirm, Mr. Murray, the light does work. And I'm, yes, I know it works, it just never goes off. So it's got to go back in again next week, and they're going to fix that hopefully. So those are the only two problems so far. You all right back there, Tui? So yeah, what about a wish list? Well, there are two things that you can't get on the M4 that I could get on my 911, and you can get on the lower end BMWs, and that is vented seats. Because of the M seats, you can't get vented seats, which you know, not the end of the world, but I kind of miss. And active cruise control, because of the way I guess the grille is in the front, you can't get the active cruise control. You can only get the dynamic cruise control, which doesn't adjust to the time or speed of the car in front of you. So I miss both those features. Not the end of the world, but it would certainly be nice to be able to have those on this car. The other thing that I would change would be the buttons on the steering wheel. Well, it's great to have buttons on the steering wheel. I think BMW have it around the wrong way, in that the volume buttons are buttons, so you press the button to go up volume or down volume, and the scroll wheel changes the station or the song that you're listening to. And why I think that's wrong is it's so much easier in my mind to just press the button to go to the next track. If you don't like what you're listening to, just press the button and go up. And to scroll for the volume, Whereas in the BMW, it's the other way around. You've got to scroll to the next song and press it, instead of just hitting a button for the next song. And instead of being able to scroll for the volume, you have to hit the button. So I think they've got those run the wrong way. No big deal though. I'd also like to see a park position on the gear lever, or at least a park button. In the M series, the car puts itself in park based on when you turn the ignition off and whether you've got your foot on the brake and what angle the car's at, etc. And of course, when you're in a rush and you think the car's put itself into park, it hasn't, of course, and the car starts rolling away, which is a little annoying. Another thing I'd like to change would be the default M settings. On my car, whenever I start the car up, it defaults to efficient throttle response, sport suspension and sport steering, which in my mind is a really strange combination. Either go everything sport or everything cushy. So I asked my dealer whether this could be changed, and they said no, it's not possible to change the default. You need to manually change it every time you start the car, which I think is odd. So if anyone out there in BMW land knows how to change the default M settings, let me know. That'd be very helpful. Thank you. So, what would I change if I ordered the car again? Well, not much, I don't think. I've been happy with everything about the car, and I'm delighted with the colour. The colour was a bit of a risk. I didn't really know what it would look like, but yeah, the colour's been fantastic, and I've never owned a car that so many people have come up to me, I think nearly every day, and said, wow, I really like the colour. What colour is that? Oh, your car's a great colour. You know, I've got so many compliments on the colour of the car. I've been very surprised. So yep, it's a great configuration. I wouldn't change it. Probably the only thing I would change was I probably wouldn't order from the same dealer again. You know, my advice to people is something I didn't do is to go on Beamer Post or any of the forums for whatever type of car you might be ordering, and type in your dealer and see what people say about the dealer on the forums. I've done this with the dealer I used after the fact and realized that there's a lot of people that complain about my particular dealer, and more so than the other dealers in my area, and I should have gone to one of the other dealers. I'm sure everyone has positive and negative, you know, every dealer has some customers that love them and some customers that hate them. But yeah, my particular dealer hasn't done a very good job for me so far. You know, they're nice people, and I'm not going to say who they are or anything. It's just, you know, they haven't been so good for me so far. They made a few mistakes, and on that point, you know, once you pick up the car, BMW North America sends you a survey. I think a lot of manufacturers do this now, and I think there's a fault in the survey system in that, you know, if you don't do the survey, no one gets dinged, you know. And so when I got the survey, to be fair to my dealer, I wrote them an email saying, hey, I got the survey, and I really don't think that you guys deserve all 10s on everything for the following reasons. You know, I said the things that they did well, the things that I was disappointed in, and then the things that they really screwed up on, and to give them the opportunity to say, you know, give their point of view. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, or maybe you know, they have the opportunity to put things right before I do the survey. But instead of doing any of that, they wrote back to me and said, you know, they're sorry that my experience has been this way, and what they say, if you can just ignore the survey, it would be appreciated. So yeah, yeah. So I wonder how many other customers just ignore the survey instead of saying horrible things or saying negative things, or not even negative things, just not saying that the service was outstanding. Because if the service wasn't outstanding, if the service was disappointing, and you put that in the survey, then the dealer gets dinged, and in my experience, they hate you from that point on. So it's, you know, you're not winning. If you say nasty things in the survey, you know, you feel like the bad guy all of a sudden. And so what do you do? So I think the survey system is a little flawed in that way. A lot of us would rather just not say anything than say something bad. But yeah, needless to say, yeah, I probably won't use that dealer again. So finally we get to the user comments part, and the first one comes from a guy called Jeff Taylor, who writes, "WTF man, if you can afford an M4, then you can afford a more realistic toupee. That piece is not fooling anyone." I guess not. Next question. This one comes from a guy called Hugo. "Do you plan to put roof racks on it like you did the 911? Well, unfortunately, it's got the little holes in the roof. It doesn't have the bolts, so there's no roof racks going on this car. So from this point on, anything that's riding on the roof has to be strapped down, unfortunately. And finally, the last comment comes from a chap called Mark Donald, who writes, "What accessories have you added to the car?" Well, I've put my Zerg sticker on the back and a Kiwi sticker. I have a little alien that sits on the dash and keeps falling over. I've got a dash cam and a radar detector. But I've also got my rubber horse's head from Amazon. I think they're about $20, and a simulated horse noise maker. The horse's head, Tui, freaks Tui out. She hates it. But yeah, what do you use the horse's head for? Well, of course, you know, for tolls or drive-throughs or whatnot. So finally, I wanted to thank everyone that, you know, writes positive comments and writes nice emails to me. You know, the vast majority of the comments and emails I get are positive, and I get a small percentage of hate mail as well, and you know, that's the way it's going to be. But I always forget to thank all of you guys that have written positive things and nice things, and I do really appreciate it, and I do try and respond to as many comments and emails as I possibly can. I also wanted to do a quick shout out to the Ryder family in the UK. They're about to get their new M4 as well, and I wanted to say hi to Tom and Emma. This is a picture of Tom in the demonstration car that they had. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your new M4 over there. I'm sure you're going to love it just as much as I did. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Any questions, email me on this address, or put a comment below. I will probably do more videos on this car in the future as I get to know it more, and I've got lots of other great videos planned as well, interesting reviews coming up, not just cars as well. So I hope you stay tuned, and hope you continue to enjoy and watch my videos. Thanks everyone, see you again next time.